And that is, how is being normal? I guess this is a content creator. Looks like a girl, right? And they saying being normal keeps you poor. And so I always like to give my fellow content creators visibility. Let me share their channel. This is according to Nicole. According to Nicole, with 58,000.6 subscribers, 58,600 subscribers. According to Nicole, drop the video, says being normal keeps you poor. All right. Yeah. So let's get into the video. Hopefully it's a quick one. I love you. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get it rocking.
So I will be the first to admit that I'm
All right. Y'all know about Pat Gigatami. You know this person? It says, I like this girl. You watch her, Molly. All right. So it's my first time experiencing it. My first time experiencing her. So I'm always trying to figure out what's going on. Shout out to Molly. Molly, if you trust her, I trust her. Let's get to it.
not the biggest fan of Dave Ramsey.
What was our choice,
Your
Jade?
choice is don't be stupid. That's your choice.
I think that some of his advice can be helpful for people who are just starting out and who are really totally clueless about finance and just drowning in debt. But beyond the very basics, I think that most of his advice is quite out of date and out of touch with our current reality. And worse, a lot of it is just rooted in his religious beliefs as opposed to actual, math, which, in my opinion, is not the best way to approach personal finance.
And I said, I'm going to follow what the Bible says. I'm never borrowing money again, and I've never borrowed money again. I don't borrow money for anything ever, for any reason, under any circumstances.
But he does have one saying that I quite like, which is, if you live like no one else, later you can live like no one else. Basically saying that if right now you're willing to make the sacrifices that a lot of people aren't willing to make, eventually you'll be able to live an amazing life that most people will never be able to live. And in my experience, it's totally true. I was having a little bit of work done on the exterior of my house last week, and one of my neighbors came to take a look at what was being done. And we started talking a little bit. She mentioned that her and her family are probably going to be moving next year, which led to us talking about how expensive housing is, especially in the area that they're looking to move to. And she looks at me kind of out of the middle of nowhere and goes, Nicole, can I ask you a question if you don't mind? And usually in my experience, when people say that, they're about to ask you something that they absolutely have no business asking you. But I said, sure, I guess. What's up? And she said, do your parents help you financially? I have to admit that that question kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Not because I think there's anything wrong with getting help from your family if they're willing and able, but just because I don't think it's anybody's business, and especially I don't even really know this person that well. I mean, I can understand where the curiosity comes from. Most of the houses on my street are occupied either by couples who are at least a decade older than me, or by multi-generational families. Being a younger single homeowner kind of makes you an anomaly anywhere nowadays, but especially
I don't know why people get so easily offended. I have no clue why people get so easily offended. Look, man, if somebody asks me a question or they're curious about something in particular or whatever, or you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, man, I don't care, man. Just ask me whatever you want to ask me. Let's get to it. Let's have a good time. And if I don't want to answer the question, then I'm just not going to answer the question. But part of the thing that I think is so bothersome for me in society today is that everybody gets so easily offended and they so easily rubbed the wrong way. I don't look at it like that. I'm not rubbed the wrong way. I'm not rubbed the wrong way. I'm not easily offended. And I don't know why everybody else is rubbed the wrong way and easily offended. But I don't know. To each his own. Let's continue on with the show.
especially here in Southern Ontario, where housing is as expensive as it is and generally the cost of living is as high as it is. So I understand that my neighbors probably have questions, or maybe they assume that I'm like a trust fund baby or something. I wish I was. But yeah, the answer is no. I mean, sometimes my mom will call me and be like, hey, don't buy onions. I just bought a 10-pound bag on sale, so next time you're here, you can just take half. I don't know if that counts as financial help, but that's pretty much the extent of it. Not that I really feel the need to explain myself to anyone, but I explained to her that I had actually just bought a little townhouse back in 2019 before prices were, I mean, they were still high, but not like they are right now. And I lived in that house for a few years, and it went up significantly in value over that time. And I eventually sold it for a big profit, which I rolled into this house. And that's how I got to be where I am today.
I wonder if she did a 1031 exchange. Are y'all familiar with a 1031 exchange is? She's in Canada, right? I don't know what the rules are in Canada, but a 1031 exchange here in the United States of America is basically you prevent yourself from having to pay taxes on a property that you sold by being able to roll it into one that is of equal or more value, right? But you have to do it within a certain time frame. It's certain rules that apply and all of that. And I actually did a video that's inside of the Patreon that y'all gonna join tomorrow. But a 1031 exchange is an awesome way in order to continue to preserve wealth, increase your net worth, and be able to capture the profits that's in whatever property that you decide to sell at that particular time. Let me continue.
I fully acknowledge that had that not been the case, there is no way I would be able to afford this place. And I know that I'd be totally screwed if I was a first-time home buyer right now, but thankfully I got in when I did, and here we are. But even that didn't seem to fully satisfy her. It was like she was expecting me to say that my parents actually pay my mortgage for me, or that I won the lottery at some point or something.
Mom, do not screw me over again! If I take that thing to school, everyone's gonna think I'm a poverty-stricken asshole!
But the actual answer is just that I have a good job, and I have no kids, and I can spend my money on whatever I want as a result of that. And I guess that answer isn't as exciting or as dramatic as the stories that people concoct in their heads, but it's the truth. This interaction...
A lot of people are very, very, it's difficult for them to believe that you just get it out the mud, or you do it the right way, or you're not a scammer, or you just got a good job, or you're not necessarily being helped by your parents, because it's so much finessing and there's so much capping on the internet, especially on Instagram in particular. But a lot of times, if you just lower your lifestyle, or you make better lifestyle choices. So, for example, Nicole here is saying that decided not to have kids. People have no clue how much of a drain on your finances children are. Let me say that again. People have no clue, especially when you have multiple children, no clue how much of a drain on your finances that children are. So if you decide that you want to live a certain type of lifestyle and you don't want to give your resources over to, and you want to be selfish for what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. But just understand that you got to forego this in order to get that. And so when certain people say that they don't want to have children and that they, what do you call them? Dinks. Dinks is something, no kids, double income, no kids, I think like that. A lot of times people get with somebody and they run up the bag and they don't have no kids, and then they can travel the world as a result of it because they don't have those things, those barriers to entries that's preventing them from being successful. Having children is a huge responsibility that people don't really take serious.
Wasn't the first one I had like it. I've had other people ask what I call fishing questions, where they're basically fishing for information. Things like, oh, what do you do for work? Or what's your family situation like? But this was the first time I've had someone fully come out and ask me how I afford my home or how I afford my lifestyle. And it kind of irritated me more than I'd like to admit.
Why is she so irritated?
I don't like the idea of people like whispering or gossiping about me behind closed doors. I didn't know that they were. I don't think my life is that mysterious or that exciting, and I certainly don't have this kind of interest in my neighbors' lives. Like, it's none of my business and I don't really care. But all of this got me thinking that although entering the housing market in 2019 was absolutely pivotal to me being where I am today, in order to even get to that point in the first place, I had to do a lot of things that were not normal. And as a result, I now live a life that is not normal, but in a good way. Today, at least here in North America, it is seen as normal to be broke. Recent surveys suggest that as many as 78% of Americans now say they're living paycheck to paycheck, and up to 56% say that they couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency in cash.
And you know what the interesting thing about that is that people get comfortable with being broke as long as you see the majority of other Americans is broke. It's almost like, well, everybody else is broke, so I don't feel bad as a result of it. Or everybody else is losing their home, I don't feel bad as a result of it. Nah, I'm going to be a little bit more frugal, or I'm going to make different decisions because I don't want to be like everybody else. And so I largely agree that we've normalized trauma. We've normalized being broke. We've normalized toxicity. We've normalized being single baby mamas. We've normalized doing this, and we think that we can get away with it because everybody else is doing it. And so it must not be that bad. But in order to really have a different type of lifestyle or get different results, you got to do something that you've never done before. I agree.
Here in Canada, things are slightly better, but still pretty bad, with 46% of Canadians saying that they're living paycheck to paycheck, and 26% saying that they couldn't even cover an unexpected $500 expense. Just for funsies, here are some other really scary statistics. The average student loan balance in America is nearly $40,000, but the average income in America is only about $64,000 a year.
Nope. Wrong. The average income in America, let me look it up right now. The average household income. Average. Yep. The median income in America is $37,500. Got your statistics wrong, baby. The median income in America, she said, listen.
But the average income in America is only about $64,000.
It's not true. It's not true. Literally, it's not true. Could never be more wrong right now. Average population in America, median age is 38.4. Median income was $34,429 in 2021. Unemployment rate was 3.7%. Per capita, the nominal GDP per capita in the United States of America was 70,000. Let me see if there's anything else I can mine out of this. Percentage of people who smoke was 13.8. That got to be higher. The median household income inside the United States at a 2.3% decline is $74,000. I don't know. I could be wrong, but who knows?
$4,000 a year.
Oh, really? That sucks.
Maybe it's just me, but going into $40,000 of debt just to be able to earn $64,000 a year doesn't sound like the greatest idea. The average consumer carries about $6,000 of credit card debt.
I'll use my credit card.
The average car payment is now over $700 a month, and the average phone bill is $141 a month, which is insanity. And there's no good reason for it, because you could be paying as low as $15 a month with today's video partner, Mint Mobile. You know, when it comes to trying to...
All right, I don't need to do all of the advertisements. So shout out to Nicole. According to Nicole, with 58,000 subscribers, make sure y'all go and show Nicole some love. But in a general sense, she's 100% right. If you want different results, and you gotta step away from what we've normalized in order to get exceptional results. And honestly, it comes with a level of sacrifice, 100%. It comes 100% with a level of sacrifice that most people is unwilling to do because it forces you outside of your comfort zone. If, I see a lot of women, for example, and they complain about the pay gap when it comes to corporate America, but in reality, is more CEOs that are men because more men choose they don't take maternity leave, or they choose not to take time off, or they stay working for their entire lives and their entire careers, and they don't take time off in order to raise children. Or, if you think about the amount of time that people spend at work and the amount of sacrifice that it takes in order to get to certain levels, business owners, some of their lives are the most chaotic because they've sacrificed family, or they've sacrificed family time, or stuff that you guys would normally do in order to make more money, or in order to dedicate themselves to their business. Some people go without having kids because they want to keep more of their wealth, and they want to invest it, and they want to travel the world, or they want to spend their money on things frivolously, and they can choose to do that. But then you'll complain and compare yourself to them, but you chose to have children out of wedlock without a partner and all of this stuff. And so a lot of times the things that we've normalized in our culture and in our society is the very thing that's holding you back from being successful. But if you want to do things that other people don't do, you got to put in the time. You got to put in your 10,000 hours. I don't miss when it comes to taking care of business. I work 2 jobs, all of that stuff, right? And so in a general sense, I do agree with her. I agree with her 100%. A lot of people take on debt. A lot of people got to have a car note. They want to stunt for other people and they want to keep up with the Joneses. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's really, really dumb. So it depends on what you want for your life. You got to make the sacrifice as a result of it. Know your